Okay, on to the next Skip the Line, man. And this one is for Brendan C, man. Thanks very much for the Skip the Line request. I really do appreciate that. You guys have gone crazy on those. You booked up that form so quickly. For those of you who want to request Skip the Line reactions, the form opens up every Saturday, and there's only a limited slot. There's only a limited slots available. There's not that many. And then once that closes, it closes, and then I drop the reactions the very coming weekend. So if it opens up on a Saturday, the next Saturday you will get all your reactions, and basically skips everything else, every other request. But I'm also dropping them early, as you can see. I am dropping them early during the week because I can. I've got the time to do so. So yeah. So if you don't want to do that, you can also just join the Sphere for a very small fee. It's $2.70 a month. It really costs nothing for additional content. And you can also place priority requests there as well. If you don't want to do any of that, you can just join the Fable community, which is completely and utterly free. You can come and engage with me and the rest of the Cucumber Squad there. You can create your own profile. It's just like a social media page. Create your own profile. You can create your own group. You can engage with us. You can post things and everything. It's very, very, very cool. Right, let's get straight into this, man. Skip the Line by Brendan C. This is Nathan Wagner. Never heard of this. Song's called Worthless, and there is a message. Song born of mental health struggles and questioning our existence. Okay, let's rock and roll. I've never heard this before, and it sounds like it's going to be heavy. Let's rock and roll.
We all fade away. In the end, we're all the same.
That is true.
Desperate pleas we make in the silence of our pain.
Ooh.
In the soul and time break, stuck in the memory of my shame. When all that I am crumbles like sand.
Wow.
In the soul always say, where's the meaning when everything's same? Everyone I see is in the ground.
That's the tragedy of life. Where is the meaning? Because everyone that I see lands up in the ground. Everyone lands up in the ground. That's why it is so unbelievably important to take advantage of every beat of your heart while you are alive. Purely because your existence, sadly, is the moment you are born, you are not busy living. From the moment you are born, you are busy dying. And if you look at it that way around, as opposed to like the moment I'm born, I'm busy living. No, from the moment you're born, you're busy dying. There is a limited amount of time you have here. And there's only a limited amount of time for you to appreciate, experience, take grace and gratitude into things, and to appreciate the world that you live in, and to be able to contribute to that world as well. Regardless of what your talents are, regardless of who you are as a person, your contribution to the world is what's important. Because yes, we go to the ground, right, when our time is up, but what you have achieved or what you've done in this life will live beyond you. It will live. You will go into the metaphysical because you're no longer in the physical, but others who are in the physical, how can they take from what you've given? Does that change their life? All right. So, it's very easy when you're in like dark spaces to go into these sort of defeatist type mentality where you feel that, what is the point of all of this, right? And the crazy thing is that there is so much in all of this that you can't possibly say, regardless of your circumstance, you can't possibly say, what is the point of all this? You can't possibly wake up, right, with your heart still beating, look up at the sun and look up at the complete complexities of the world and the beauty in the intricacies of the world, and sit there and say that you somehow don't fit into this, right? You do fit into this. It's just when you're in those periods of despair and you feel like you're lost, it doesn't feel like you quite plug in, and this is where you need to try and sort of, in those moments, try to introspect in your life and consistently look up. As hard as that may seem, stop looking down. Do not fall for the trope that it's okay to not be okay. That will forever be something that I stand by, because too many people are saying it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be in this. No, that is a downward spiral. And if you allow people to convince you that that's okay, you will never be okay. You will forever be looking at the ground and missing the beauty of what's above. So I'll never subscribe to that, essentially. But it's a beautiful song so far. It's giving me Chester Bennington, may he rest in peace, and Linkin Park vibes over here.
It's the moment when everything's same. Everyone nice and in the ground.
So they do.
Where nothing burns.
Everywhere.
When everything's worthless. And all that I want is to be bound.
All that I want is to be unbound. And bound by what? You're the only one that keeps yourself bound. And bound by what? Do you know what I mean? Like, we speak of these things as if there's these external forces that are like sort of like constricting us, where it literally is just the shackles in your own mind. And bound by what? Like, everything that is, and everything that isn't. If you say it is, and if you say it isn't. It's all a mental state. It's your own perception of the world. If you perceive the world in that manner, then yes, everything will be negative. And that's what you will attract. You'll consistently attract negativity. If you believe in that the world is beautiful, and you believe that you're capable, and you believe that every morning that you wake up that there's a purpose to your existence, and that's why belief is so important. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to push any religion onto anyone, because my motto is always stand by the very same perspective, where the best religion in the world is whatever you believe in. But believing in something is unbelievably important, regardless of whether it's a man in the sky or this higher power, this higher being. It doesn't matter. Believe in the God in yourself, because you know what is the difference between good and bad. Believing in something offers a standard to live by. Believing in a certain way of life, believing in morals and virtues. And even if you don't believe in the man in the sky, but following something that can offer you hope, regardless of what it is, whether it be the Bible, or whether it be a self-help book, or whether it be anything, you can find hope in your environment, in the most hopeless environments. The only thing that is going to get people out of those situations is hope, as dire as they may seem. If you actually read a book by Dr. Viktor Frankl, and I often reference his book, he was in the Holocaust, and they took absolutely everything away from him. They took his family, they took his children, split from them. He never saw them again. They took all of his belongings. They took everything he owned. He was a highly astute intellectual man with a couple of doctorates, right? And when they literally dragged his family out of his house, put them on different train carts and shipped them off, and he didn't know where, they took every single thing he owned in terms of his doctorates, in terms of his belongings, everything. And they took his doctorates, and they took his certificates and all that he had studied. Everything that proved that he was an academic professor, was a brilliant man. They took all of that and they threw it into a barrel of fire, and they burnt it all. And the SS officer told him, now you have nothing. And he turned to the SS officer and he said, I never have nothing. And he pointed to his heart and he pointed to his head when he said that. You never have nothing. You cannot look at your life by the extensions of it. You can only look at your life from the vehicle that you were given and how you treat that vehicle, which is this. It's this. That's what you got to look after it. You got given this as a gift. And it is only right that you give this gift back better than you received it. To whoever gave that gift to you, whatever you believe in, whether it's just evolution or whether it's a God or whatever else, you got given a beautiful gift. You got given this vehicle. And it's only right that you give this vehicle back better than you received it. Both physically and mentally. So even going through those hardships, it's actually being able to be disciplined to work every single day to better yourself, because your only competition is yourself. You don't compare yourself to other people. You compare yourself to who you were yesterday. That's your biggest competition. Who you were yesterday is who you are up against. And if you can just incrementally improve on that person today and incrementally improve on that person tomorrow, you're already better for it. And if you keep doing that, bit by bit through, it takes discipline. It is waking up in the morning and doing the things that you don't like to do, doing the things you don't want to do. Mood cannot affect what you do in your day. Your responsibility and your accountability to yourself, to your own well-being, comes through discipline, not through your mood and not through your feelings. This is the life we live in. We're going to have to do things that we don't want to do. And if we're going to consistently try to run away from that and only run towards temptation and only run towards decadence and only run towards the things that give us temporary happiness and not be willing to sacrifice of ourselves to become something greater, you will forever, ever be unhappy. Discipline is what makes a human being, it's what builds a human being. It's getting up in that morning and not feeling like doing that thing and doing it anyway because it is your obligation to yourself. It is your obligation to your family. It is your obligation to your community. You have to sacrifice of yourself to ensure that it is done. And then somehow, slowly, through that process, you just start feeling better. You just start being happy. Because you are doing something that is not just for yourself. You're doing something that transcends yourself, something that is more powerful. You are bigger than just you. This existence, the system that we live in, is bigger than just you. And the natural order is that you plug into the system by giving to the system and taking from the system. And sometimes you don't want to give. And sometimes it's just, you don't want the obligation. But it's not about what you want to do. It's what you have to do. And through that channel of responsibility and accountability and obligation and sacrifice is where you get connected to the human emotion of feeling like you belong. Anyway, let's not get too far into this.
slow down. The breath inside me fades and wakes the meaning when everything's fading. Everyone
How about finding meaning in everything fleeting? How about finding meaning instead of listening is like, what's the point? Where's the meaning? All of this is fleeting, right? How about finding meaning in that and saying, because everything is fleeting is why the urgency of right now, the urgency to live now, is why that is so much more pertinent and important. It's the tragedy of life. It's a fallen world. And not everyone gets given a hard hand. The majority of people on this earth is going to suffer, or are going to suffer sometime or another. It's the world we live in. Life is pain, life is struggle. That'll never change. But you would never, ever know what the true beauty of life is if you don't feel that pain, if you don't feel that struggle. It's the equal opposite. Up, you only know of up because there's a down. You only know of left because there's a right. You only know of joy because of pain. You only know of hate because of love. One cannot exist without the other. The greatest moments in humanity came out of the greatest tragedies. There were lessons that were learned in those moments. And through real, dire, painful circumstances came real, beautiful, powerful human moments. When you see this all the way littered in history, from the Holocaust, from the lady who tried to save all of the babies in the Holocaust, she gave of herself and she saved 2,000 babies, smuggling them in a truck outside of the concentration camps until she got caught and she got killed. And she died a damn noble death because everything she saw around her was fleeting. She said, what was the point? It's all going to go. Everything's going to die. This is the system we're in. But out of that system, she changed the lives of 2,000 babies, of 2,000 kids. It wasn't fleeting for them because things are fleeting is why you need to look at the world in a more hopeful sense, in a more positive sense. If I had to give you 50,000 years to live, man, you'd be absolutely and utterly miserable. If I had to say, Genie, what do you want? I want 50,000 years to live. I would immediately, if I had to grant you that wish, I would immediately take every single bit of meaning out of your life. If I had to give you immortality for 50 years, if I had to give you immortality, I would strip you of the meaning of life. Urgency is what gives life meaning. You've got to do it now. If we had all the time in the world, what's the rush? I don't have to chase that dream. I don't have to get that person to love me. I don't have to do these nice things now. I don't have to help this person now because I've got all the time in the world. You only have a certain amount of time. And because everything is fleeting, it's because of the fact that the moment you are born, you are dying, is why it was more pertinent to fill every single day of that life with beauty in any which way that you can. And you do that through discipline and responsibility and sacrifice. Anyway, moving on. would you care? Well, it's amazing how we always ask these questions outwards. If I had to fall asleep for all of eternity, would you even care at all? Would you care? Right, a question like that comes from a person, or from a mental state of already feeling like, well, my life's not worth it. Well, would anybody care that if I live? Would you care if you live? That's the question you should be asking yourself. Do you care that you exist? Do you care that you live? Do you care that your heart beats? Because if you did, you wouldn't need to ask that question to anybody else. Nobody else needs to validate your existence. If you can't validate your own existence, whether anybody else cares doesn't make a difference to you. If you cannot validate your own existence, if you cannot look at yourself and be like, without me, the world would have something, would have something to mourn. Without me, the world would have something less, whether they believe it or not. The world is better for it with me in it than with me out of it. If you don't have that aspect, if you don't have that outlook, then there's not even point asking this question. Because it makes no difference what other people think about your existence if you can't validate your own existence. And we're in that spiraling mental situation at the moment with a lot of the younger generation, where they feel that their sense of validation and their sense of being, it can only be validated by others. Other people need to affirm who they are in order for them to feel content with who they are and content with their existence and content with their choices. And the only reason they do that and they require that from people is because they are not content with who they are. And they're looking outwards to find something that they should be looking inwards for. And saying like, if I'm content with who I am, if I'm content with my life, what do I give a damn what anyone's got to say about it? It means absolutely nothing to me. And that's the problem, is looking for this validity in a society that doesn't care because they're all too engrossed in their own narcissism, therefore making you further depressed. The only person that needs to validate your existence is the person that looks in the mirror, that you see in that mirror. If the person you see in that mirror cannot validate your existence, that you've got a big damn problem. Because if you can validate it, everybody else will just validate it as well, because you'll be great to be around. There's nothing more beautiful than a person full of life, because he appreciates and is grateful for his existence. That naturally draws positive energy. It naturally draws people. It's a positive force for good. And it's only going to draw people to you. But when you say, will people ever care at all? People are going to be like, oh, I got my own shit, man. I don't need to be under your mushroom tree in the shadows. Positive thinking is so damn important, man. Having that sort of mindset is so damn important. This is going a very long reaction. Let's carry beautiful instrumentation. It's a beautiful song, and I'm not saying that it's not okay to ask these questions, and it's not okay to feel like that, and it's not sometimes, you know, we're all human. We have those days where we wake up in the morning and you just feel like, you know, you tend to ask yourself, what's the point of all of this and that kind of thing. It's fine. You're human. You're allowed to have those moments, but don't make those moments a habit, because it's a terrible habit to have. Right? Make discipline your habit, and through immense discipline, you have no idea what can come out of your life. You have no idea how much comes out of your life through just being disciplined, through waking up in the morning and taking on your day and taking on those responsibilities, regardless of your feelings. Your feelings are very fluid, they're very up and down, and if you're going to live your life by how you feel every day, you are going to just live in misery. But when you wake up and you're just down and you feel like the world's falling apart, but you do your tasks regardless, and you are disciplined to your day as you always are, you'll find that through that process you start healing yourself and start finding happiness. And I'm no psychologist, and I don't need people to say, oh no, but it's just my advice. Take it or don't take it, leave it, whatever. It's my opinions. It's my personal thoughts. Right? Take it or leave it. You can take the doctrine of it's okay to not be okay, and always look down, and always have those people that are always being like, shame, it's okay to be in this space and blah 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 blah, and fall into that trap. Or if you're looking for something different and you want to try something different, try to be driven by discipline and not by your moods, and try to improve yourself incrementally every single day. Be just a little bit better than you were yesterday, even if it's fractional. Be a little bit better than you were yesterday through a bit of discipline. See how you feel. Just see how you feel. Maybe it'll work for you, maybe it won't. And look after your body. A healthy body is a healthy mind. And you'd be shocked to find out how much looking after this vehicle improves this mind of yours. Anyway, just leave it at that. I love you all. Please stay safe, please healthy. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.